Welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Hez Brown. And now your host, Hezekiah Brown.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Hez Brown. This bi-weekly community affair show will present issues and information that affects you. We're just as happy as ever to be on the air today. We have a special guest today that's going to give us a lot of valuable information that is needed and valuable information in terms of what you can get. So her name is Natalie Peel, and she's the executive director of the Northern Albemarle Community Foundation. They give away money. But before I do that, as you know that each week I give a few tidbits on how to resolve conflict. And I think that some of the things that we give you, we hope that you would start to practice. If you can recall, the last time we were on the air, we gave you 3 skills that one must have if they're going to be a problem solver. Learn how to resolve disputes. One is self-examination. You got to learn to look at yourself. Look at the person in the mirror in terms of trying to resolve the dispute. And just asking the question, could I have been a little bit involved? Could I have been wrong? Or did I say the wrong thing? Self-examination, that's number 1. Number 2 is being able to exchange position with the other side, which is the most difficult part to do. Because most of the time, what we do is we focus on ourselves as opposed to focusing on other folks. So being able to actually exchange position with the other side and say, given the same circumstance, the same condition, would I have done things the same way? And the third thing is one that we like, all of us like this. This is really developing good listening skills. Before you can solve a problem, you have to know what it is, and you have to listen. But being able to develop good listening skills. So today I'm going to give you a few other, it's a little bit longer than the first 3, but today we're going to talk about some companions that you must learn to live with if you're going to be a problem solver in today's world and community. So the first companion you must learn to live with is you must learn to live with oneself. You have to learn to live with yourself. You know, there are some people that have difficulty living with themselves, but you have to learn to live with yourself. The second companion is that you have to learn to live with others. We live in a world, we don't live out alone, so you have to learn to live with others. No matter where you go, there are going to be people, and you got to learn to live with people. The third one is you must learn to live with challenges. Every single day that you wake up, you're going to face some kind of challenge. This challenge could be driving to work and somebody cut you off. But it's certainly can be a lot of challenges. There's certain things that happen when you get to work in the morning. You might realize that, wow, I didn't know this was going to be like this when I came to work. It wasn't like this yesterday. But it's always going to be challenges that you have to face each day. And the fourth one is probably the most important one, and that is learning to live with change. Each day we go to bed and wake up the next morning, we never know what change have taken place while we were sleeping. And we have to learn to live with change because some people are resistant to change. But can I tell you that 95% of the change that's taking place in the world today is good. 95% is good. And the fifth one is that one must learn to live with choices. You know, we tell young people all the time that sometimes the choices you make now might have an impact on you for the rest of your life. So be careful about the choices you make now. Be careful about the folks that you hang out with. Be careful about the folks that you shop with. Be careful, but be able to understand that the choices that you make now, and this doesn't only apply to children, it can apply to adults, because the choice you make today might affect your livelihood for the rest of your life. And the last one, of course, I would put it like that, that's learning to live with conflict. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, at home, at work, at play, in the church, in the community, there's always going to be some conflict. So one of the things we try to do is encourage individuals to start to look at how to resolve conflict, not how to make problems. Any idiot can make problems, but we have to learn to address problems and then learn to resolve disputes. So we gave you a lot right there in that. So now we're going to get right down to the real nitty-gritty, down to the things that we came for today. And I'm just going to, good afternoon, Natalie. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. This is such a treat.
It is a pleasure to have you on the program. So your name is?
My name is Natalie Jenkins Peel. I like to use my maiden name because I was here born and raised in Elizabeth City, and all my Jenkins clan, I think they would be sad if I didn't use my maiden name. So anyhow, but
that's great, because a lot of times, believe it or not, the folks that we interview a lot of times, and a lot of them are from out of town. So it's always good to see a homegrown person who was born right here in Elizabeth City. And now, Natalie, where do you work?
So I have the pleasure of working for the North Carolina Community Foundation. I know that Hezekiah mentioned that we were going to be talking about the Northern Albemarle Community Foundation right here in Elizabeth City, and we certainly will. But just to give you a perspective of how all that works and how all of the lines lead, the North Carolina Community Foundation is a statewide nonprofit community foundation, and we serve the state through affiliate advisory boards such as the Northern Albemarle Community Foundation. And the Northern Albemarle Community Foundation serves 4 counties: Pasquotank, Perquimans, Camden, and Gates. So the geography is quite large just for this one affiliate advisory board. Now, my role is, as regional director, is serving the Northeast region, which covers 12 counties. So I'm on the road a lot. So radio stations are certainly a fan of mine, and I'm on the road a lot. And I have the pleasure of working with 6 boards of volunteer board members. Yeah.
So Natalie, you say you're the regional director. Is that Northeastern Regional Director?
So it is the Northeast region of the North Carolina Community Foundation.
And so now in each one of those areas, is there another director that's there that reports to you?
I am a one-woman show.
You're the executive director. So
I'm the one-woman show in my region. We certainly have a staff at our Raleigh headquarters, where we have professionals there that are leading our financial investment departments, our grants and scholarship departments, our development departments, our financial departments. I think I said that. But I have 7 colleagues that do the same thing that I do in our state. So there's other people like me serving their regions, living in their regions, active in their regions that work for the North Carolina Community Foundation.
I think you've somewhat done that, but I just want to just reiterate this because it's so important. Could you just explain to the audience the real mission, goals, and objectives of the Northern Albemarle Community Foundation?
Absolutely. So our mission is to inspire philanthropy in North Carolina, and our mission is focused in rural North Carolina. So certainly Elizabeth City and Perquimans, Camden, Gates, those counties are the essential rural North Carolina. So in layman terms, what do? We gather assets with individuals, businesses, families, and grow them through investments, and then grant them back out for the greater good to nonprofit 501c3s, faith-based organizations, public entities, including public schools. So that's what we do. We pretty much raise money, grow it, and then give it back out.
You say you raise money, and obviously, we live in it's a Title I area. I think that's what it is. Mm-hmm. And so does that give you any advantages? Do that help more? So
we are not state funded. Like I said, we are a 501c3 nonprofit ourselves. So part of my role, along with working with the advisory board of the Northern Albemarle Community Foundation, is I have the honor of working with individuals and families and businesses that want to make a charitable impact in their community through an endowment fund. That's what we do. We are in the endowment business. In fact, we have an endowment fund that has been set up by Southern Bank for the business school here at Elizabeth City State University, so that students here at Elizabeth City State can have a scholarship to go to the business school here at ECSU.
Wow, that's great.
Perfect example. Well, there you go.
Yes, this is great information because I was totally unaware that you had that kind of foundation set up there. So now this is a very outstanding organization. Because, as I said again, anytime anyone give money away, we always want to hear about it. But how long has the organization been in existence?
Sure. So we have been in existence for 30 years. This is our 30th year. We are a very trusted organization. The North Carolina Community Foundation is in a pool of 1% of the charities in the country that receive a 4-star rating in GuideStar. And GuideStar is a website that donors go on to look and rate organizations that they want to give to. So we are one of the 1% of all the nonprofits in the country that have the highest standards. We really take what we do seriously. I mean, it's a big job to help people with their charitable giving now and when they're not here. That is what we do. And it really is an honor to do that.
Wonderful. I'll just say that I kind of noted that it is a resource for nonprofits. And how so? Just kind of break that down for us.
So a couple of things. So let's focus on the Northern Albemarle Community Foundation on this topic. The Northern Albemarle Community Foundation has their own endowment fund. And one of their roles as board members is to raise money for that endowment fund through their own giving, through reaching out to their networks, encourage gifts, and through investments. Annually, they're able to give out grants to local organizations here in this community. And, of course, you want them to grow every year, so they get larger and larger. So more gifts equal more grants. Right. So that's really how they raise money. And so they have an annual cycle. Their cycle just wrapped up. It's typically, so anyone's listening, you want to jot down for next year, but it's typically March through April. And it's a 4-week cycle. And we have an online process. So if you went to ncommunityfoundation.org/Northern Albemarle, you would find all the information about applying for grants and scholarships. We can talk about that in a minute. Right. But if you are a nonprofit 501c3 in the 4 counties, or if we have listeners that are covering any county in the Northeast, hop on there, put your county in, and it will provide you with any kind of grant funding that's available, cycle dates, and the typical grant range that we offer.
Right, that's wonderful. Now, you said that you talked about the nonprofits. What about scholarships? Is it high school students, or is it college, or is it others? How does that work?
Sure. So we have about it's about $27,000 annually that the board is the committee for some scholarships, and the committee that there are scholarships for are for graduating seniors in the 4 counties. So we have the Elizabeth City JC Scholarship, the Bertha Sawyer Winifred Miggs Scholarship, and the Bartlett Faison Scholarship, which serves Camden. Some of them are pretty specific about what type of student or what pursuing career you're going into, or even what college you're going to. We also have some designated funds, which would be the Southern Bank Elizabeth City State Business School Scholarship. So what that means is that grant comes to the business school annually, and then the business school provides the scholarship to a local student here. We actually just started a new designated scholarship last week, the Palin Nicole Cheeks Memorial Scholarship, which will benefit graduating seniors from the NEAT school here on the campus of Elizabeth City State University. So, our job is forever growing, and, we just want people to know about us and know that we are an option when you're making some tough choices about your charitable giving, or where you want to plant those seeds that your legacy will be.
Now, you did speak about how the organization is funded. And one of the ways it's funded, you said, through endowments and through giving, to voluntarily giving. So what if some listener right now said, well, look, I think that I would like to establish an endowment, there. Would they then contact you? And how do they contact you if they want to do this?
They would contact me. My office is downtown. I share an office with a local real estate company. I'm right beside Pedro's store. Everybody knows where Pedro's store is. I'm right beside there, but I am on the road a lot, so the best way to get in touch with me is through my cell phone, which is 252-216-8908, or you can go on the web at ncommunityfoundation.org. We're also on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter.
Okay. Now I'm gonna ask that question again. I know you're sitting around listening now, but I'm going to ask that question again. So get ready. Go get your pen and pencil so you can write this down, so you know how to contact Natalie for giving, because that's the name of the game. All right. Now, What's the real criteria for scholarships? What's the criteria for nonprofits?
Sure. So that's what's great about working with the Community Foundation is that by working with an individual donor, business, or family, we really work with you on how you want to give and what are things that are important to you. So, for instance, if you have a specific idea around a scholarship or you want to provide a scholarship to your alma mater, that's something that we can do. We work through it through, several meetings about how you want to leave that legacy. And it's very simple. It really is very simple. It's just what you want to do, and then we do the hard stuff. In regards to the grants, the board offers around $17,000 in annual grants in the 4 counties, and their criteria is unrestricted. So unrestricted grant funds are very hard to come by, and that is what the Community Foundation really is known for. You ask any nonprofit organization, and most grants that they're receiving are restricted to a certain purpose. We know and we believe that by supporting nonprofits in their general operating support, they cannot do things if they don't have a person on staff or a building over their head or things as simple as office supplies. They're not able to serve the mission of their organization without those things. We do have a program part of the Northern Albemarle Community Foundation. It's called the Women Givers of Northeast North Carolina. Maybe if you've heard of Power of the Purse, it's an annual fundraiser in February. But these women, it's a all-women giving circle. And through their dues and this really fun fundraiser, they provide grants to nonprofits serving the needs of women and children in these 4 counties. So that's very focused grant making. They want to make sure that that demographic is taken care of in regards of financial resources.
No, Natalie, one of the hardest things to do is trying to find the folks who is capable and able to give. How do you get these folks to give? How do you find them?
So, I think that's why our affiliate network across the state has been so successful for us. Our founder, Mr. Holden, who started First Citizens Bank, he really believed that by being in these local communities, our boards are local community members and leaders, and their connections in the community of charitable giving people. Our board members are huge connectors for that. They know what our role is. They know what our mission is of the North Carolina Community Foundation. And our mission is having endowment funds that are going to take care of this community now and forever. And we utilize them for that. That is one of their roles as a board member.
The board members are able to be advocates for...
Absolutely. That one of their major roles is to be an ambassador for the Community Foundation and wearing that hat and always thinking, okay, let me think about this. For example, Arts of the Albemarle. There's the David Bosworth Charitable Fund that provides scholarships to children that want to participate in the Center Players program, a performing arts program. That fund was established directly through a board member and through those contacts. And if without that, several successful students that have gone on to Broadway and working at Disney would not have had that opportunity with the Center Players if those funds were not available for them.
So do you have an idea how many different scholarships that's given away? How many different? The second question will obviously be how many different organizations and nonprofits have been funded by the organization.
A lot. A lot. I do not have an overall total, but I can tell you what they did. I can tell you what they've done this year. They've given out about $25,000 in grants and $17,000 in scholarships. And some of the organizations that are receiving grants are Meals on Wheels, Albemarle Hope Line, YMCA summer camp scholarships, so kids can go to summer camp at the Y. Summer camp scholarships at Arts of the Albemarle. Boys and Girls Club, their summer camp program. I mean, summertime's a scary time for a lot of people, whether you want to realize it or not, it is. And so I'm very proud of the board for recognizing that. The La Casa program at First United Methodist Church, Kids First, the Child Abuse Treatment Center here in Elizabeth City, Perquimans County Mentoring and Restitution Group for Youth Mentoring, the Perquimans County Schools Foundation, And they also do a water turtle program that every kindergartner in Perquimans County receives free swim lessons. It's incredible. Let's see, prevent blindness in Gates County. So they go and do eye screenings for children and then give them vouchers for free glasses. River City Community Development Corporation for their group work camp home repair program. The SPCA, got to take care of the animals. Yeah. And then the Special Olympics here in the Ford County area, which was a new applicant this year. We also have several nonprofits that have endowment funds, which is pretty incredible. So like I mentioned, Arts of the Albemarle has one. Kids First has one. Let's see, Camden Education Foundation, the Perquimans Education Foundation. Again, the Elizabeth City State has one for the business school. The Newbold White House, the oldest house. And is it the oldest brick house in the state of North Carolina? I think it is. Oh. So, who's going to take care of that house?
Right.
Well, there's a fund now that will take care of it forever. Wow. So that's sort of how it works. We've been very lucky to have some large scholarships that are available for the local seniors here to go to school. So about $17,000 annually.
Wow, that's great. As I said again, one of the things that each person I know in life, you'd like to have a job doing what you enjoy doing. And I
have the best job.
That's what I'm saying. I really believe. I can tell from the way you address these issues that you enjoying what you're really doing, but not only enjoying, but helping people.
I really love my job, and I tell you, I remember. So I've been here for it'll be 5 years in October, which is hard to believe, and I will never forget during my hiring practice, my boss said, one of the reasons I wanted to hire you is because you see your region of the state as half full instead of half empty. And I love your 6 listening. I'd love all of that. I want to listen to that every day because, we have a huge job. And if we all wake up every morning wanting to make where we live a better place, I think we would be a better place. And I tend to not think about all the needs and just try to work towards the little bit that we can do. And it is a wonderful organization. It's a wonderful job, and I feel extremely, extremely blessed to work for it.
Right. Now, Natalie, you mentioned endowment. Could you just kind of explain how that works for those folks who might not be familiar with
absolutely
how an endowment works?
I did not, honestly, I did not know what an endowment was and the benefit was until I, became part of the North Carolina Community Foundation. An endowment is a fund, pretty much, that provides an annual distribution now and forever. And it's able to do that through conservative investment management. And so we have a statewide board of directors that holds the fiduciary and legal responsibility of the entire organization. We have an investment committee that oversees all of our investments. And our financial department does an amazing job of making sure that these organizations will have funding through grants annually. I mean, that's one of the major reasons people want to work through the community foundation. Yeah,
I understand.
Okay.
But I want you to you said forever, so how does the endowment work forever?
So,
just explain that.
Sure.
Because I'm saying that sometimes someone is sitting around and said, well, look, I want to make an endowment, but that's going to sooner or later going to disappear.
Sure.
So explain the forever part, which I think is absolutely key.
Okay. So let me do it in a visual example because that would help me sort of explain it. So let's say you have a pool of money that you want to do something good with. Well, you would set up an endowment fund, and that we would never, ever use that pool of money that you are establishing the fund with. What you are going to give away, or whatever the beneficiary is of your endowment fund, is only going to receive the interest of the fund. So we invest it. It's investment management. So we invest it in the stock market with our portfolio. And because our portfolio is large, your return is going to be large. Your grant's going to be larger. So that organization, beneficiary, your church, your school, your favorite nonprofit that you've been a volunteer for 40 years, they're going to receive a check from us every year. And it will grow through additional gifts, but through prudent investments. That's our job.
So the reason I say that is because, in terms of some in my travels and encouraging folks to give, that I talk about the same thing you were saying about an endowment, wherein, again, just like you said, you give forever because the only money they take is the money that's generated from the original donation.
That's right.
Is that correct?
That's
so
right.
I just think that's fine. So the reason I asked that question because I want people to understand that there is a way to give forever as opposed to giving a lump sum money.
Absolutely.
That the money can be used to generate other funds. Right.
Absolutely. And so, if you don't have, the establishing gift that to create a full endowment, but, the Northern Albemarle Community Foundation and their unrestricted purposes of providing grants to this community, anybody can give. Anybody can give to the Northern Albemarle Community Foundation. Anybody can give to any of the funds. So, if the business school is important to you, and I'm not sure if Elizabeth City State has another business school scholarship, but if they don't, this is one that you don't need to create another endowment. There's already one. So you can give as little or as much as you'd like.
So I'm just saying, suppose, someone wanted to start one. They said, well, I only have a nominal amount of money
Absolutely.
to start this. Could you say start a plan where you give so much a year, so much a month, or so much a year to get to a certain point where it would be valuable to?
So we have options such as gift funds, and all of that information can be found on our website. Yeah. But absolutely. And that's a really personal conversation with people. And so, whoever might be interested in something like that, let's sit down and talk about that and talk about how you want to leave an impact in your community. And let's go from there to see how we could work with that. So
give that website address again.
ncommunityfoundation.org.
And now after just to the audience, you have to listen to the great work, and I had to underline the word great work that this organization is doing in terms of not only administering but giving to those in need. And if there's someone out there who is willing to do that, I wondered how would they go about donating to the organization?
So we have lots of options on how you can give. So, of course, we are still doing the handy-dandy check. I still have a checkbook, wrote 2 checks this morning. We accept checks. We certainly accept gifts online on our website. People that might want to make a gift of stock are able to do that. We even accept gifts of real estate, which is kind of crazy. But if you inherited a reasonable property that we would be able to unload and liquidate, you could certainly give that for a tax deduction to a charity that you would like to give to.
Mm-hmm. So again, you have a board, right? A board, what's it called? A board of directors?
They're an advisory board.
Advisory board, mm-hmm. Strictly advisory. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And each county, each area, you said 7 different areas have a board in their area, right?
I have 6 boards that I work with, and they cover 12 counties.
12 counties. So now, how do you get board members? Who are the board? Are they community folks? Are they those who donate?
That's a great question. Since I have about 90 volunteer board members. And let me tell you, the ones that are serving, they really understand the foundation and understand the impact that we're trying to create. It's not always easy. Our part of the state is large. I mean, we have a really large region. We find them through lots of different ways. We find them through people that have given, that have shown interest in the foundation. We have asked some of our individual fund holders to serve on the board, so getting the perspective of someone that has an endowment fund to provide the perspective on, what are we doing? Are we doing the right thing? Or are we looking at community needs assessments? And when we're determining our grant making, are we really making an impact on our grants with the biggest needs in these communities? Schools, different churches. We just did a census data through all of my boards, and it provided percentages on race, age, gender. We want to make sure that we look and act and are representatives of the communities that we serve, where everyone is at the table.
Right. So now, is there one for Pasquotank County, or is it for North?
So the Northern Albemarle Community Foundation serves Pasquotank, Perquimans, Camden, and Gates. So we have board members that are from those areas, serving on the one board. Yeah. On that one board. Yeah. And then then I have the Beaufort High Community Foundation, the Martin County Community Foundation, the Bertie Hertford Community Foundation, the Chowan Community Foundation, and the Currituck Dare Community Foundation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to, we're kind of winding down now. So would you just repeat the application period again for the scholarships and for the nonprofits?
Absolutely. So our scholarship program, we typically open that up the first week of February. So the first week of February every year, you can go online, ncommunityfoundation.org. It's right there, apply for scholarships. You want to enter in the county that you are graduating from, and it'll provide you the local scholarships, but we also, because we're a statewide organization, we have a ton of statewide scholarships that students and children from this area should be taking advantage of. So again, February 1st, the deadline in this area is usually around the end of March. And then for nonprofits, which include faith-based organizations, so if you're running a food pantry out of your church, you are certainly acceptable to apply, or a backpack program, or any other program that you're doing, but you might not have a 501c3 status, you can go under the umbrella of the church. Public institutions, including government entities and schools. And so that grant cycle is typically in March, and it ends in April. It's usually a 4-week cycle. So again, you go to ncommunityfoundation.org, go to affiliates, Northern Albemarle, and then click on apply for grants. It'll give you that cycle date. It'll give you a typical date grant range on, is it from 500 to 2,000 in the amounts of grants. You can see who we've granted out before. You can see a list of our board members, all of our endowment funds in this community, and you'll get to see my face. My contact information is on there. So there's lots. Our website is filled with lots of great information, but both of those are annual processes. And I would be remiss if I did not share, we do have a donor-advised fund here in this community that provides $150,000 annually in grants. So you would need to contact me to access that kind of information, like when is that cycle. It does have a grant cycle, but we don't have that at this time. But there is some really generous people in our community that really want to do good with what they have, and it's an honor.
I have to say to Natalie, it's an honor to have you on the program. It's an honor to just share this information, because that's what we really do here at WRVS through our president, Clay Mercer. We just try to give the information to the community that is difficult to get other places. It's pretty obvious, in Elizabeth City, our television news come from Raleigh and come from Virginia, So this program really developed for that reason, to try to share information that you're unable to get from the newspaper, you're unable to get from any place else. We try to share that information. So we hope that we have generated some interest, because the monies you give, you don't get get it to keep. You get it to give it away. And I would assume that probably some of those, sometimes people don't apply. And the reason they don't apply because they're unaware of the program. So anything that we can do to help spread the gospel of the giving, we certainly would be able to do that. So Natalie, we thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join with us to give us this good news about the availability of grants, not only for scholarships, but also for nonprofit organizations.
Thank you.
So I say you do God's work.
I hope so.
And thank you so much for taking your time.
Thank you, Hez. And thank you, Clay, for having me.
Thank you for listening to Around the Town with Hez Brown, recorded and produced at WRVS-FM Studios on the campus of Elizabeth City State University. If you are interested in becoming an underwriter for this show, call 252-335-3985.